Hello guys, welcome to another Java programming tutorial. My name is Lawson Luke. In this video, we'll be looking at exceptions, what are exceptions and how to handle exceptions using try catch block. So let's go over to the slide here. We'll see an exception is a problem that occurs during the execution of a program. When an exception occurs, the normal flow of the program is terminated or disrupted, and the program terminates abnormally, which is not recommended. Therefore, exceptions are to be handled by the programmer. Now, there are a lot of reasons why an exception can occur. Number one could be that the user has entered an invalid data. It could also be that the resource specified was not found, and it could also appear as a result of network failure. Some of these exceptions are caused by user errors, others by programming error, and others by physical resources that have failed. So if we look at the three categories of exceptions, we have what is known as checked exceptions. A checked exception is one that occurs at compile time. It is also known as compile time exceptions. These exceptions cannot simply be ignored at the time of compilation. The programmer has to take care of it. We have unchecked exceptions. An unchecked exception is one that occurs at the time of execution. These are called runtime exceptions. These include programming bugs as well as logical errors. Runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilation. And the third one we want to look at is not really an exception per se, but these are abnormal conditions that can happen in case of a severe failure. These are not usually handled by the Java program, and the program usually does not recover from this type of problem, which is called errors. So errors are usually abnormal conditions that happen during execution of a program. So most likely due to programmer's fault. So it's beyond the user's control. But these are some of the problems that need to be well thought out, especially when you set out to build an application that you know it's going to scale. Even if it's not going to scale, even if it's going to be one or two people that will use it, it is very appropriate that you check for these errors that might come in by virtue of using the application. Now we have built-in exceptions. Java defines several exception classes inside the standard package, java.lang class, and java.lang is implicitly imported into all Java programs. So most exceptions are derived from runtime exceptions, are automatically available. So how do we catch exceptions? A method catches an exception using a combination of a try and catch keywords. A try catch block is placed around the code that might generate the exception. And a catch statement often involves the declaring of the type of exception you are trying to catch. So let's go and see some examples on this here. So I have a Java program I created here, just called a class exception. So what I'm going to do is just put in my main method here, public static void main. Okay, so let's do a very simple example. Let's declare an array here. Let's call this num. Let's give some values to this array. Let's give him 1, 2, 3, and 4, like this. So let's try to print out system.out.print line. So let's print out this is the 0 index 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's print out the third index like this. Let's run this and see. Okay, so we get 4 because this is the third index. When you start counting from 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we get 4. Now let's try to print out the fourth index. So you can see the fourth index does not exist, but still let's try to print it out and see what we get. Now we get this exception thrown here, so you can see what is written here. Java.lang array index out of bounds exception. So what that means is that this fourth index cannot be found because the array specified only ends at the third index. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So you cannot find the fourth one or any other one coming after it. So what we need to do is to handle this exception. So instead of this getting this error here on the screen, we can just throw a nice statement to the user. Okay, so what we can do, we just put a try catch block around here, and then here will be catch. So usually there are error index which you can see. We have this array index out of bound exception. So it's the type of the exception index that we actually want to catch. So we'll call that exception here. Let's call this array index out of, come on now, bounds exception here. Okay, so we have it. So let's go and check that the spelling is correct. Out of bounds exception. Okay, so we get it. So here we can throw the error statement, or we can do some print our own error statement here. So we'll just say array index exceeded, and then we can just throw more light on the error. Okay. So let's try to run this again, and then we have array index exceeded. So this is the error, okay, and this is the offending index here. So Java.lang index out of bound exception. So we use this try catch block to sort of catch the exception, keep track of it. In something might occur, something might not occur. So usually when you're not sure of what a program output might be, if you're not 100% confident of the program's output, you might want to put it that particular chunk in a try catch block, and then you have to get the exception index. There are tons of those. If you look through the Java documentation, there are tons of exception classes there which you can call. For instance, divide by 0. We have a mathematical format error which you can actually divide by 0. Okay, and there are tons of other ones as well. So this is one of the ways to catch exception. We'll do another example here. We'll try to do another example here. We have what is known as throw and throws. Yeah, we have what is known as throw and throws. So if I try to within here, let me just create a method. Static void. I guess I want this to take in the parameters, so I want this to static there. So just call this method and check underscore age here. So this is taking an integer. Okay, so this is taking an integer. So I want to check for age here. So I will say if the age of the user, if it's less than 18, I want to throw an exception here. So if it's less than 18, I'm going to throw an exception. So I'll say throw new arithmetic exception. So this is the message saying not eligible to vote. So I think I'm going to want to put this inside a block there. So else I'll just say stem dot out print line. So this would be eligible to vote. Yeah. So I need to return. I need to pass my return statement here. So this will return age, like this. So what we can do here, so I'll just make this a static class. I do not have to create an object of this class again. So what I can do here now, I'll just comment this particular block out and try to execute this one. So I'll call this method here. So I'll pass calling check underscore age. So since I decided should take in an integer, to take in a parameter, let me give this 22 here. So let's run this program and then we'll see. So eligible to vote because of the condition I give to this program. So I said if the parameter being passed here, if it's less than 18, so through this new arithmetic exception, like I said, this arithmetic exception is one of the Java's inbuilt exception Unix class that you get, especially when numbers do not actually for instance, dividing by 0, you cannot divide by 0, so you have this arithmetic exception. So if it's not actually the value you're looking for, you can actually use an arithmetic exception to catch that. Kind of different from input mismatch exception, where a program expects an input to be integer and the user enters a string or double. So we get an input mismatch exception. So if you're creating those kind of programs, you also have to catch that error as well. If not, the program will just terminate abnormally and can kind of be frustrating for the user. So back to this program. So if I put something a little lower than 18, so let's say like 2 here, let's run this program again, and then we have this exception being thrown here, which you can see admin exception not eligible to vote. It's the message that I want to be shown here. So that's one of the ways to throw an exception. So we have another one known as throws. Here we have throws. Let's try to create another class here. So let's create public static here. Let's call this int division. So I'm going to pass into parameters here, int a, int b. So this method with say throws arithmetic exception right here. Okay, so now I will say int results will be equals a over b here. Then I will return my result right here. I guess I'm going to comment this one out. Then I will call this here. So what I will do here, I will say try. Put a catch here. Okay, so here I will say try system out dot print line. Then I will pass in this my method here, which is division. I'll pass in two integer values, 2, or let me say 4 and 2. and then I will catch here, which will be arithmetic exception. So let me try to do I'll just see system out dot print line operation not permitted, like this. Okay, so let me try to run this program and let's see what inputs we get. Okay, so we'll come here again and we'll just call this. So we get 2 here because it's working fine. So if we try to do, let's try to divide by 0, for instance here. So let's change this to 0. So I run this again. So we get operation not permitted. Now, why? Because I told you earlier on that you can actually divide by 0. Okay, so if we do not catch this, it will probably throw this arithmetic exception message, for us here on the console. Okay, so we really want to catch that and try to tell the user that actually you can actually divide by 0. Okay, so by putting a try catch block around that particular place of the program that might give off an exception. Okay, so this is it, guys, about throwing and catching exception class, and I hope you find this tutorial very useful. If you like this tutorial, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more exciting content like this.